After they jibed halfway down, the mistake, 2 + 2 = 5, steered by John Woody Whiting, had hit the front and was leading, approaching the bottom mark at Chowder Bay. Woody decided to granny rather than jibe at the mark, but had to contend with a bit of traffic. The rest of the fleet started to bunch up approaching the mark. Australia 4, Tangalooma and Topweight waltzed their way through the jibe.
Welcome to the World on Water for February 14, 2020. The Australian Historical 18-footers had their Australian Championships just recently, and there was chaos at the lower mark. First off, we look at Alex Thomson's racing team behind the scenes. Race 1 of the Australian Historical 18's on Sydney Harbour. World Sailing brings us Tokyo 2020 North American qualifiers. There's a whole raft of new Imoca 60s being built for this year's one-day globe. Sailing Arabia Day 4. Francis Joyon is passing Saint Helena into the Doldrums and out the other side. And US Sailing's Yacht Persons of the Year at Long Beach on board the aircraft carrier. Now we get to look behind Alex Thomson Racing Team.
In our game, you have to be able to recover from the knocks. If you can't recover from it, first time it happens, that's the end. You have to expect it, deal with it, and you have to move forwards.
What can't go wrong? You can be the most well-prepared boat. Gear can always fail. Sails can rip. You can hit things in the water. Things can always go wrong.
When things go wrong during a race, you step into crisis mode. The first thing that you do is to make sure that he's okay, that the skipper's okay, and then you assess the damage. You see how serious it is, whether this is we're out the race, or whether it's a competitive disadvantage.
We've had many crises, and each crisis can develop in a different way, but we have a plan and we have a team based to support any crisis that happens within AT racing. We follow that process.
When that phone rings, you can feel physically sick, and it's pretty stressful. But then it's a case of managing it. You know, there's been numerous times since I've been with the team where that's happened. It's a state of shock, but you have to manage the situation and get through it and try and make the most of it.
We do everything we can to mitigate any risks. So we run a risk register based on our boat and every component of our boat, and we work really hard to do whatever we can to ensure that our boat is prepared the best it can be. But there's just so many other different variables that we cannot control. And we've been there before, whether it's going to race starts and being hit by a fishing boat, or whether it's a keel, you're hitting an object in the water and your keel's falling off. We can't control those things, they're out of our control, so we do the best thing we can to mitigate it, but it's part of the sport we're in. Like I said, it can be quite brutal.
Nothing goes to plan in this sport, you can be sure of that. And the example of the collision during the TJV, obviously it gives an opportunity for the team to kind of come together, and actually the team remains really calm, there's very little panic. The communications with the skipper, with Alex and Neil on board, is always very clear, and when something that we don't plan for happens, we actually have a very clear plan of how to deal with that, and therefore, you know, responding to those situations becomes much easier because we've put the work in beforehand to set out a procedure of how the team would respond.
Yeah, Alex is very good. Like within a couple of minutes of any incident, he phones me straight away. My phone is always on. Our crisis team is based around Portsmouth. Within an hour, we were all together, and then we assess and follow our plan avidly to the mark. Yeah, we don't deviate from that, and it works. So it's something that we've tried and tested.
In terms of having an event offshore, you know, we're very reliant on the management team and and Ross as one of our directors. And Ross is very calm. His mind's calculating all the time, and that's always good. You know, Ross provides a good calming effect to the team.
First thing I do is you run through with Alex to make sure that everything is safe, you know, and he can continue to some degree. And if he needs any information to stabilize things right at that moment, so that he can keep sailing, and you do that, and you give yourself basically a window of how much time and what decision do we need to make.
The critical thing is firstly making sure the boat and the skippers are stable. Once you've got that, time is actually your friend. You actually need to take as much time as you possibly can do to make sure you're making the right decisions. If you rush into any decisions in an instant like that when you're dealing with a crisis, you're more likely to make a wrong one or to make a poor one.
We do have contingency plans in place, but at the same time, situations do change very quickly, and you've got to adapt and go from your plan A to a plan B, or be ready for that.
We look at all of our checklists, we decide what the next steps need to be. And although we need to be rational and we need to think about every one of those steps, we also need to move very quickly. This sport doesn't stop for anyone. Before you know it, fans around the world will be very aware that something has gone wrong in the race, that Alex could be in trouble. And so we really need to be on the front foot.
If something unfortunately does go wrong, and it can do in a sport like this, then you really feel it. You know, we all ideally don't want to take our work home, but this is the kind of work that you do take home, and you feel it very, very personally. You know, not only is he a great guy, but we've also all invested a lot in this, so we all feel it.
You really have to separate the emotional side and the rational side. You can feel very stressed and nervous for him. You have to park your personal feelings and your emotions and what's going through your mind, and you have to regroup as a team. With these races, you have spent a great deal of money, so many hours, and so you have to continue. You know, you can't really quit. There is no quit in Alex, and there's no quit in us as a team.
Heat 1 was held in a rare southwesterly, flicking between 10 and 20 knots, and the southerly course was selected. Yendes, with the red anchor, steered by Harold Cudmore, hit the front soon after the start. And led around Clark Island and into the run to Chowder Bay. Yendes and some of the fleet went wide with starboard poles. Others jibed at Clark and took a more direct line to Chowder Bay. Several boats set ringtails, a relic sail from square rig days extending the leach of the mainsail. After they jibed halfway down, the mistake, 2 + 2 = 5, steered by John Woody Winning, had hit the front and was leading approaching the bottom mark at Chowder Bay. Woody decided to granny rather than jibe at the mark, but had to contend with a bit of traffic. rest of the fleet started to bunch up approaching the mark. Australia 4, Tangalooma and Topweight waltzed their way through the gyre. The leaders were pretty even at the Shark Island mark. The next leg is usually a shy reach in a southerly, but in the sou'wester the wind was well ahead of the beam. The Mistake began to draw away and was first around the Carraba mark. Yendes was followed by Australia 4 and then Topweight. Yendes and the Mistake turned neck and neck for home at Clark Island. The wind was still just ahead of the beam. With a little flat masthead spinnaker, the Mistake was able to keep up to the line, but had to flag the spinnaker to make it. With a peakhead spinnaker, Yendes got pushed away and had to drop theirs. So the Mistake takes out the first heat by 30 seconds from Yendes. Australia 4 came in for third, and then the rest of the fleet in a bunch.
Olympics number 3, here I come. Amazing. It was hard out there, huh? 5 Canadians. Thanks to the Lord, this is a special one. Really special one.
I'm super excited, super happy. It's something I've been working for very hard for many, many years. And to finally achieve it, it's just like a great feeling.
Oh, it feels great. Happy to do it. Happy that Canada will be going to the games. We feel good for our own internal selection too. We're, I guess, leading the trials at the moment and feel confident that we can lock it in.
So it means really a lot of years of hard work. 4 years ago for Rio, I didn't manage to qualify myself, also here in Miami. This Miami was also difficult because we were a small fleet, so every point counts a lot. But I managed to do really well, and I'm happy for that because I put a lot of work into the year, so for that.
Ce chantier, il avait été programmé déjà bien en amont. On savait déjà il y a 2 ans qu'on ferait une modification importante du roof l'hiver avant le Vendée Globe. L'intérêt de ce roof-là, c'est d'être plus protégé, puis de venir sur un look de bateau aussi un peu plus moderne, un peu plus agressif, avec des positions de hublot qui sont beaucoup plus réfléchies aussi. Ça va vraiment être sympa parce que ça change la tête du bateau. Et c'est quand même une opération qui est impressionnante, hein, parce qu'on a refait en tout quasiment 27 mètres carrés de pont et de roof.
Alors mon rôle, je m'occupe de l'organisation technique, c'est-à-dire que je fais l'interface entre tous les intervenants sur le bateau. Et donc en vue du Vendée Globe, on va faire des optimisations liées à la performance, mais aussi à l'ergonomie sur le bateau, notamment avec la modification du roof. Donc on passe de 2 roofs sur les côtés à un roof central. On a aussi plein de dossiers sur les systèmes de Veranki, d'énergie aussi, tout ça dans une optique de fiabiliser le bateau au maximum.
Mon rôle dans l'équipe, c'est de prévoir tout ce qui pourrait arriver sur le bateau pendant les courses. Petit à petit, c'est plus juste un lieu de travail, c'est plus juste un bateau, c'est notre bateau à tous et c'est notre bébé quoi, qu'on envoie en course, qu'on prépare. Et on y met un peu de nous en fait, on envoie un peu de nous faire le tour du monde quand on envoie ce bateau faire le tour du monde.
La mise à l'eau, c'est dans pas très longtemps, mais en même temps, les choses sont assez bien planifiées pour qu'on soit prêt dans les temps. Et la saison, elle va commencer assez rapidement, puisque mi-mai, je vais partir en transat pour les États-Unis et je reviendrai en course au mois de juin.
Je pense qu'il s'est fait une très belle équipe, Damien. Parce qu'il a réussi à bien s'entourer avec Jean, qui est très très expérimenté. Ce sera son 5e Vendée Globe à Jean Le Cam cette année. Mais il en a déjà fait 4, il en a bouclé 3, donc il connaît beaucoup de choses. Et puis après, on est une équipe qui est soudée, chacun est bon dans ce qu'il fait, et du coup, je pense que ça va permettre à Damien d'aller très loin.
Ça va être super, j'ai vraiment hâte de pouvoir naviguer sur ce groupe apicile version 2, on va dire, et je pense que voilà, ça va continuer à être un joli bateau. Ouais, j'ai vraiment hâte.
Division girl just won their first coastal race.
It's been great with the strong winds and the big waves.
Windy and a lot of action.
We managed well, we finished first in 4 races and we sailed well.
Nous sommes le 4 février, contournement de l'anticyclone de Saint Helena. La mer est plutôt calme et plate, avec un bon petit vent devant nous qui nous permet de pisser sous Génaker. C'est parfait. On doit faire quelques empanages pour essayer de passer sur la trajectoire le mieux possible. Ça peut être la condition
بديت أبحر وأنا عمري 12 سنة. الآن أنا في قائد مطارات عمان. سعيد جدا وفخور جدا كوني إني من ضمن الطاقم العماني، وإن شاء الله أن في الأيام القادمة نقدر نحرز المراكز الأولى بإذن الله.
We had a very lovely tour, and we had some light breeze, very windy condition, and we've been having a great time touring Oman.
We won the Sailing Arabaz tour, so we are very, very happy.
We're aboard the USS Midway in San Diego for the announcement of the 2019 Rolex Yachtsman and Yachtswoman of the Year award. This year's format is a little different as we welcome the 3 finalists for the men and the women with a big announcement tonight. The Yachtswoman finalists include Nicole Briault, 2016 winner Daniela Moros, and the team of Berta Puig and Bella Casarato. On the men's side, there's offshore racers David and Peter Askew, tactician Willem Van Way, and the 505 team of Mike Martin and Adam Lowry.
First, just a tremendous congratulations on this honor, making this shortlist. You are truly the pinnacle of the sport right now, and I just wish you all the best of luck in the years to come and tonight. So thank you very much.
So the 2019 Rolex Yachtswoman of the Year is Daniela Moros.
I turned 19 last weekend, and I never imagined I would have even 1 Rolex, let alone 2. So this is just absolutely crazy. I'm so thankful for all of you and for US Sailing and Rolex and all of the people that have supported me along the way. I couldn't have done it without you, especially the parental unit. My mom and dad, they've done everything for me and helped me get this far, so thank you to them. And I'm really excited to share my journey to the 2024 Olympics with you all. So thank you.
The winner of the 2019 Yachtsman of the Year is Mike Martin and Adam Lowry.
This is super sweet for me. As Gary said earlier, this is my 6th time being shortlisted. I kind of was convinced it was never going to happen, but yeah, it's really, really special. Adam is a great teammate. We sail great together. It's great fun sailing with Adam. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure. And in the past, I actually was nominated without Adam, and I'm so glad that we're both included this time, because 5-0s are truly a team effort, and without him it would be hopeless.
Mike and I have a ton of fun out there. It is all business, but what I love about our sport is that 2 guys in this case can come together and do what they do and try hard, and we make each other better, and we've had a really, really good year as a result of that. I also want to say, after 6 times, Mike, you deserve this. You really do.
Yeah, it's really shiny.